Fish are truly some of the weirdest creatures on Earth. Some are tiny and adorable, while others are massive and terrifying. Then there are those that make you think, what even is that? Join us as we show you 20 fish you won't believe actually exist. Number 20. The Asian sheep's head wrasse. While we do know the phrase, there are plenty of fish in the sea, you often have a mental picture of what a fish should look like. And when you look at the Asian sheep's head wrasse, this isn't exactly it. It's not what you would picture, and that makes it so much more weird that people have caught it and even put it into aquariums for everyone to see. One can only imagine what they have to say about the fish when they come to its tank. And if you're wondering why you've never seen or likely heard about this fish, well, that would be because of its location. Native to the western Pacific Ocean, it inhabits rocky reef areas around the Korean Peninsula, China, Japan, and some islands. And if you're not in that range, you're not going to see it all that often. The irony here is that despite it not being that well known by some, it's one of the biggest of the wrasse family, measuring in at almost a meter in length. Plus, they're known to have quite the lifespan, with one confirmed case of an Asian sheep's head wrasse living over 30 years, with a certain human diver being its caretaker. Yet, even more ironically, there's another twist in the sheep's head wrasse tale. Specifically, this is one of the more special animals in our world that has the ability to shift its gender on a whim. That's right, it's able to change its gender because it has both male and female reproductive organs. And just when you thought it couldn't get any weirder than that, when an Asian sheep's head wrasse is born, they're always female, which means that as they grow older, they gain the ability to transform into a male. And as you can imagine, that's not something you see every day. When BBC Earth was able to find this creature and record it shifting from male to female, it was quite the spectacle and special moment for science. So what we have here is a large, weird fish that's able to change its gender. Number 19. The Yeti Crab. It's actually a bit surprising that I haven't talked about crabs yet, as they are something that many people see regularly, and they come in various forms, which include the weird ones. In the case of the Yeti crab, or the kiwa as they are known in scientific circles, these crabs are special because they have a rather hairy look to them. When you add to that their whitish coloring, that's when you get a crab that looks like the infamous Yeti from folklore. In fact, the Yeti crab is nicknamed for its hairy pinchers, which are covered in a dense layer of hair-like bristles. And these bristles are thought to harbor bacteria, which the crab may farm for food. This appearance gives them that Yeti-like, shaggy look. The Yeti crab lives in total darkness and is almost entirely white, lacking any kind of functional eyeballs. It's adapted to life in the extreme deep-sea conditions, thriving at depths of over 7,000 feet below the surface. Since the discovery of the initial Yeti crab, other species of the family have been found, which includes those that have unique adaptations depending on their specific deep-sea environment. The Yeti crab is a prime example of the incredible diversity and adaptability of life within the deep ocean, and shows how organisms can survive and even thrive in places that humans could barely ever reach. Another thing that adds to the Yeti comparison is that the crabs live in some of the coldest areas of the world, and they keep themselves warm by going to hydrothermal vents. So yes, these crabs do thrive in the most extreme of conditions. Number 18. The Blobfish. Have a look at this fish and tell me what you think about it. I mean, it's not a trick question of some kind. I'm honestly wondering what exactly you think, because if you think about it, it may be one of the ugliest fish you've ever seen. And you wouldn't be alone in that thought. The catch is that it is the worst version of what is known as the blobfish. It doesn't look like this at all when you find it in the water. So then, what makes it happen to look like this later? The easiest answer is people. Humanity. You see, the blobfish in question is a deep-sea fish, and I mean that in the most literal of ways. It's a fish that lives in parts of the ocean so deep that the pressure alone would be able to kill a human. Not to mention machines not prepped for those depths. So then, now imagine taking a creature that's used to living in that depth and then taking it up through the layers of the ocean where the pressure gets even lighter and lighter and so on. It would be like a muscle that was used to being tense 100% of the time and then being told to relax. Then, when you look at the blobfish in its natural state, you're going to see that it does look like a standard fish. And when you take it out of those pressure-filled depths, that's when it changes before your very eyes. So long story short, people are to blame for its ugliness, amongst many other things. Number 17. The Lionfish. Despite its name, the lionfish does not resemble a lion in many ways, nor is it the king of the jungle or even underwater. I'm not even sure who that would be, probably a shark though. But anyway, what the lionfish does have is one of the deadliest venoms that you're going to find in the ocean, and it can inject that venom into you in a variety of ways that's going to leave you begging for mercy, even though you're not going to find any. Yes, I'm being rather dark, but it is funnier that way. And when you look at the lionfish, you may think it's a rather beautiful creature. I mean, it has a rainbow kind of pattern on its body, which may be tempting to you to have a closer look. But you have to ignore that impulse at all costs. I'm warning you for a good reason. That coloration style is actually a warning to predators not to approach it. And that's because the other thing that might have caught your eye about the fish are the spines. Those are indeed how the lionfish gets its venom into its victims, because they're all over its body. It means that it has the ability to strike you from basically all sides, and that makes it both an offensive and defensive weapon. And that's pretty cool while also being equally terrifying. Oh, and as for that question that you're dreading to ask, their venom can cause systemic effects like pain, nausea, vomiting, fever, headache, numbness, paresthesia, diarrhea, sweating, temporary paralysis of the limbs, respiratory insufficiency, heart failure, convulsions, oh, and of course, death. The good news is that death will be rare. It often only happens because of allergic reactions or not getting good treatment in a good amount of time. Kids are more susceptible to the venom than adults are, of course. But either way, you don't want to get poked or poke around or be poked by this lion of a fish. Number 16. The piranha. It's actually a good thing I'm talking about piranhas because there are plenty of myths and legends about these fish that need to be dispelled. For example, if you recall a set of B-grade horror movies about these fish, they do not go after humans like that. They never have, and they certainly are not going to be able to consume an entire person in seconds flat without enough food. That's just not what piranhas do, and they've never done that before. In fact, one of the things that may surprise you the most about this fish is that they are technically omnivores, meaning that they're going to eat meat, plants, seeds, or just about anything else that they feel up to digesting. There are even those on the spectrum that eat nothing but meat, like the red-bellied piranha, and then the ones that prefer not to eat meat at all. Now, their bite power is not exactly to be underestimated. The black piranha is said to have one of the most powerful bites in all of the vertebrate lines. That's what can make them so dangerous when they're swimming in groups and going after their prey. However, humans are not prey to piranhas. Oftentimes, an attack by a piranha on a human is because of extreme situations, such as that piranha not exactly having enough food recently or being provoked by splashing children around in the water. And there may be bait there in the water because of the fishing that's going on. Have piranhas killed people in the past? Well, yes, they have, but it was again in extreme circumstances that were far from normal. If you're in the Amazon River basin, you'd likely know that piranhas are near you, and you don't have to fear them unless you make a stupid move. Now it's time for today's topic. A deep-sea diver filming sharks near the Galapagos Islands has unknowingly captured footage of a mysterious sea creature that has left experts baffled. The diver, who was documenting the behavior of hammerhead sharks at a depth of 200 feet, had no idea that something far more extraordinary was lurking nearby. It wasn't until he returned home and reviewed the footage that he noticed a chilling frame, a massive, shadowy creature swimming silently above him. The creature's outline is unlike any known marine animal, with elongated fins and a body that seems to shimmer in the dim light. Its movements were smooth and deliberate, almost as if it was observing the diver from a distance. "I didn't even realize it was there," the diver admitted. "It must have been just a few meters above me, and I had no clue." Marine biologists analyzing the footage are stunned. "This doesn't match any known species," one expert stated. "Its size and shape suggest it could be a deep-sea predator or an entirely new species." The discovery has sparked global intrigue, with many wondering if this is proof of undiscovered creatures lurking in the ocean's depths. For now, the mysterious sea creature remains unidentified, adding to the enigma of the deep. Number 15. The Redlipped Batfish. Now, I'm going to show you something that is weird on a much different side of the spectrum, as in one that's truly weird because of what you see when you look at it. This is the Redlipped Batfish, which is exactly how it's described, absolutely weird. Now, those are indeed its actual lips, which I didn't even know that fish had lips, but there you go. What's particularly weird about this creature is the simple fact that it is not one that can truly swim. You heard that right, it's a fish that can't swim. Many batfish are like that, apparently. So it will use its body to actually walk on the ocean floor so that it can get its prey and stay safe from any predators that may be lurking around. Though, curiously, not many things go after a red-lipped batfish. Maybe they don't like its lipstick. Number 14. The sarcastic fringe head. It's almost poetic that we go from a potentially large fish with an equally large mouth to a small fish that likes to show off its big mouth. Meet the sarcastic fringe head, a fish that only gets to about 30 centimeters in length, but it loves to flex as though it's the biggest fish around. If you come into its territory at any point, it's going to rush at you, open up its great big mouth in an effort to intimidate you, and move you and make you go back. And this fish has a serious attitude problem. They tend to inhabit objects in cavities like shells, burrows, and crevices, and are also found living in man-made objects like bottles and soda cans. Not that littering in the ocean is good, mind you. And when two of these fringe heads go head-to-head in combat, they literally ram their mouths against each other until one can bite the other's head. Number 13. The Northern Stargazer. There are many creatures that adapt to the ocean and its terrain in various ways so that it can survive, and the Northern Stargazer is one such example of that. As its body shape and coloring are able to blend in with the sandy bottoms of the ocean, Then when its prey loom overhead, it can rush out and take a big bite out of it. It is one of the many ambush predators of the deep, and it's apparently very adept at doing just that. In addition to this type of hunting prowess, it also has a rather grumpy and menacing look on its face, which makes it a strange fish indeed. Number 12. The Lamprey. As we get into the top 10 of this list, it's important to note that I'm not going to go easy on you just because we're halfway done with the video. There are plenty of terrors that are still to be shown, and one of them is the Lamprey. You could easily call this one of the true monsters of the deep because it doesn't even look like a fish at all. It looks more like an underwater serpent of some sort, but it has no eyes, no jaw, and a mouth that looks like the Sarlacc pit from Star Wars, but with even more teeth. And no, Boba Fett is not lurking inside. While there are numerous types of lampreys, including ones that are filter feeders, others are more predatory in nature, and they feed by boring into the flesh of another fish or, in the rare case, marine mammals to consume their flesh and their blood. Yes, they are truly that monstrous. And part of the reason that they can pull that off is because their mouths, which can perfectly attach themselves to a surface, and then the teeth go to work to siphon off what they need. What arguably is the most horrifying element of the lamprey is not its teeth, it's how fast they can reproduce. There are certain species of lamprey that are able to produce 100,000 eggs in one single go. And so they are not exactly the easiest things to get rid of. And even in a lab setting, they are known to be rather large in their reproductive numbers, just as a single lamprey can reproduce thousands of offspring while once in a lab. Needless to say, there is no reason why anyone would want anything to do with one of these monstrous fish. Number 11. The Stonefish. It's actually pretty easy to talk about the stonefish because it is not only a fish, it is the deadliest fish in the entire world regarding its venom. That's right, forget about worrying about sharks or piranhas, you need to worry about the stonefish. Now, for context, the venom in this fish is emphatically lethal to humans. And that's not even the worst part. Unlike other fish in the sea that have venom, the stonefish is known to have a natural camouflage, so that it can blend in with the ocean environment, like a reef. That also means that you could be near one and not even know it. Then, if you touch one of their venomous spines, you're going to be in trouble. The venom is able to cause massive amounts of pain and can even paralyze your body. So if you're diving in the water and you get stung, you could actually be frozen there as the venom continues to surge around in your body, eventually taking you off of this planet. Number 10. The Goblin Shark. As noted with the anglerfish, true terror is sometimes something that you never expect, and that is the perfect encapsulation of what the Goblin Shark is. It's one of two living fossils that I'll talk about as I wrap up the video, and it's easily one of the worst of the two in terms of the scare factor. First, it is a big shark, there's no getting around that. It's about 4 meters long at times, which makes it twice the size of a human. And secondly, it's another creature that lives in the dark depths of the ocean while also being capable of surviving near the surface. So you could be closer to one than you may be thinking. The biggest nail in its coffin, though, is its mouth. Its mouth is straight out of the Alien franchise, as it's able to extend that mouth outside of its body in order to try and get to its prey, which is wrong on so many levels. The biggest question naturally becomes, how did it get that kind of ability? That is seriously something that no one should have, and yet it totally does. Now, we do know that it came before the xenomorphs ever existed, so did someone learn about this fish and think that they could make it even scarier? Nobody truly knows, and that may be the scariest thing of all. Number 9. The Manta Rays. Going to the more cool aspect of ocean creatures, we'll now talk about Manta Rays. These are the creatures that have massive wingspans and majestically move all throughout the waters. They're also known to be very kind with humans, and they don't mind swimming with them when they come across them. Just for some context, when it comes to that almighty wingspan, well, you can get ones that are almost 10 meters in length from one end to the other. Yet despite that impressive size, they are also filter feeders, and that means that they're one of the more gentle species that you'll come across. Don't get them confused with the stingray, though, as those are entirely different and much more dangerous. For manta rays, they are quite special, and we need to do right by them so that we don't lose them in our oceans. Number 8. The Pyrosomes. One could easily make the case that Pyrosomes are in a league of their own when it comes to weirdness. For example, if you take a look at a Pyrosome, you may think that it's one large entity, but it's not. It is instead hundreds of thousands of little entities called zooids. Depending on the size, they can either be extremely small or big enough to be noticed for a good distance. It all just depends on the colony itself. The fact that these colonies are able to work together to do various tasks is astonishing in my eyes. Just try and picture you and your friends doing a task together and trying to be efficient about it. Now, trust me, you won't be as efficient as these Pyrosomes. They are a wonder of the world's waters, and it's no wonder that so many people love to study them. Number 7. The Pyra. What surprises me the most sometimes is that there really are small fish that like to pack a big bite, and evolution is more than willing to give them exactly what they need for whatever weird reason. Furthermore, many of these kinds of fish actually live in the Amazon, such as with the Pyra. These fish barely get to 1/3 of a meter in length, and if you look at their mouths, you're going to notice the terrifying prominent set of teeth that stick out of its lower mouth. These are meant to go for prey and kill them quickly by impairing them. What may be weird to you, though, even more, is that these fish are actually sold as aquarium fish. People clearly have faith that others are not going to get bitten by these fish while also taking care of them, or they just want their money and don't care if they get bit. The latter option sounds a whole lot more likely. Number 6. The vampire squid. There are a lot of squids and octopuses that could be talked about on this list, but for now, I'm going to focus on the vampire squid because it's one of the more classic ones that people just can't seem to believe actually exist. Unlike the colossal or the giant squid, the vampire squid is actually rather small by comparison. In fact, your forearm may actually be bigger than this squid. What's curious about this, though, is that despite being so small, it lives in some of the deepest and darkest parts of the ocean, even developing organs that can glow in the dark and a unique circulation system, which helps it to handle the lack of oxygen at those depths. As for why it's called the vampire squid, well, if you look at the underside of its cloak, you're going to see the vampire fangs, and that they are everywhere. We should all be grateful the creature isn't bigger, or else we'd all have some problems in the end. Number 5. The Fangtooth Fish. Have you ever met someone and could just tell by their look and demeanor that they were not the nicest of people? Well, with the Fangtooth Fish, you get that vibe as well. This is a small fish that barely reaches 16 centimeters, and yet when you look at its head, not only is it much larger than the rest of the body, but it also has a big set of fangs that it uses to get its prey. These fangs are so large that the fangtooth has special sockets in its skull to accommodate them when its mouth is closed. Despite its fearsome appearance, the fangtooth is actually a relatively slow swimmer, relying on ambush tactics to catch its prey in the dark depths of the ocean. It lives at depths of up to 5,000 meters, where sunlight never reaches, and its oversized teeth are perfectly adapted for gripping slippery prey like small fish and squid. The fangtooth's dark, almost black coloration helps it blend into the inky waters, making it nearly invisible to predators and prey alike. Its small eyes are not particularly useful in the pitch-black environment, so it relies on its highly sensitive lateral line system to detect vibrations and movements in the water. Juvenile fangtooths look quite different from adults, with longer fins and smaller teeth, which scientists believe may help them avoid being eaten by larger predators. Despite its menacing look, the fangtooth is harmless to humans and plays an important role in the deep-sea ecosystem as both predator and prey. Look at that face, apparently it's a fangtooth. Yep, it's a fake tooth. That's honestly just a little bit sad that it focuses so much on that instead of anything else at all. In fact, according to the BBC, the fangtooth fish have the largest teeth in the entire ocean compared to body size. Number 4. The hagfish. If you're familiar with eels, you might know about the hagfish, as they are felt to be rather similar. In fact, many refer to the hagfish as having eel skin, though they don't have the electric organs that eels have. Instead, they have a rather sticky slime that they use to smother the predator and force them to go away because that slime is inside of their gills. This slime is one of the most fascinating defense mechanisms in the animal kingdom, as it can expand rapidly when mixed with water, creating a thick, gelatinous barrier. A single hagfish can produce enough slime to clog the gills of a predator, effectively suffocating it or forcing it to retreat. Scientists have even studied hagfish slime for its potential applications in creating biodegradable materials or even lightweight, durable fabric. Hagfish are also scavengers, feeding on dead or dying animals by burrowing into their carcasses and consuming them from the inside out, which has earned them the nickname slime eels. Their ability to survive in low-oxygen environments and go months without food makes them incredibly resilient creatures. Despite their primitive appearance, hagfish have been around for over 300 million years, making them one of the oldest living species on Earth. Their unique physiology, including their lack of a vertebral column, has allowed them to thrive in deep-sea environments where few other creatures can survive. These are unique because while they do have a skull in their heads, they have no vertebral column of any kind. They are the only living creature in the world that doesn't, further differentiating them from their eel counterparts. Number 3. The ocean sunfish. Now, I've shown you some big things on this list so far, but with the ocean sunfish we're getting a brand new level of weird and wild. If you look at it from different angles, you're going to see a true glimpse at how misshapen it appears to be. It's tall and somewhat long but not wide, and due to the size of it, it's about 1,000 kilograms in weight at its maximum. As for its height, they can reach 3.3 meters sometimes, and that makes it one of the larger bony fish in the world, something that divers just love to come close to when they're down in the water. Despite their massive size, ocean sunfish are surprisingly gentle and pose no threat to humans, which is why they're often a favorite among divers and snorkelers. Their diet mainly consists of jellyfish, but they're known to eat small fish, plankton, and algae as well, making them opportunistic feeders. One of the most fascinating things about sunfish is their habit of basking near the surface, often lying on their sides to soak up the sun, which is how they got their name. Scientists believe this behavior helps them regulate their body temperature after diving into colder, deeper waters. Their unique shape, with a flattened body and long dorsal and anal fins, makes them look almost like a swimming pancake, adding to their odd charm. Ocean sunfish are also prolific breeders, with females capable of producing up to 300 million eggs in a single spawning season, one of the highest numbers in the animal kingdom. However, their slow swimming speed and awkward movements make them vulnerable to predators like sea lions, orcas, and sharks. Ocean sunfish are native to the temperate and tropical waters of every ocean in the world, so that means that if you want to, you could probably get close enough to see one for yourself and know what they're really like. Number 2. The anglerfish. Terror comes in all shapes and sizes, that's just a fact of life. And when it comes to the anglerfish, you could argue that it's one of the biggest monsters you're going to find in the depths of the ocean. Not because it eats any kind of people on the regular or it's the biggest predator around, because it's certainly not. They're usually quite small, with the biggest among them growing to be about a meter in length. What does separate them from others is how they lure in their prey to feed on and the terrifying elements of their biology that will freak out just about anyone. The biggest thing that makes them scary is what many people will recognize from films like Finding Nemo. Many anglerfish live in the midnight zone, which means that they have no natural light to look around with. The anglerfish makes up for that by having a protrusion that comes off the top of its head and actually glows in the dark. The fish of the midnight zone are naturally drawn to that light, and when they go to investigate and see what exactly it is, that's when they get consumed by this fish. It's mean and it's also effective. The anglerfish is incredibly freaky when it comes to reproduction. That's because the female anglerfish are the ones that grow to a meter in length, while the males don't even get to a fraction of that. And so, when the time comes to mate, they literally fuse their bodies together. That's right, two literally become one in this case, and that is absolutely disgusting no matter how you look at it. This is the definition of terror. It's not being the biggest or the baddest creature around. It's the ones that you never see coming. And the more you learn about them, the more you'll wish you hadn't. Number 1. The frilled shark. I'll end on a bit of a lighter note, mainly because I think that you've earned it after bearing with me for this long. The frilled shark is the second living fossil that I just mentioned, and the reason that this one is so shocking is because it honestly doesn't even look like a shark at all. In fact, many would note that it resembles more of an eel than anything else. The reason for this is simply due to its age. It's a species that's been alive for many millions of years, which includes potentially hundreds of millions of years. Its long, slender body, which can grow up to 6.5 feet, allows it to navigate the deep ocean with ease, where it spends most of its time. The frilled shark's name comes from the 6 pairs of gill slits that line its throat, giving it a frilled appearance that adds to its prehistoric vibe. Unlike modern sharks, which rely on speed and power, the frilled shark is a slow-moving ambush predator, using its flexible jaw to swallow prey whole, even if it's half its size. Its teeth, numbering over 300 and arranged in 25 rows, are needle-like and perfect for gripping slippery prey like squid. The frilled shark's deep-sea habitat, often at depths of 1,000 to 4,200 feet, makes it a rare sight, and most of what we know about it comes from accidental captures in fishing nets. Scientists believe its ancient lineage and lack of evolutionary change are due to the stable conditions of its deep-sea environment. This makes it a fascinating window into the past, showing us what early sharks might have looked like millions of years ago. It's interesting to see the shark of the past compared to the ones of today and see just how different they can be. Well, that's all from the stories of fishermen highlighting the many weird and unusual fish they've caught over the years. Which of these fish did you find the most unbelievable? How would you have reacted if one of them was on the end of your line? Perhaps you know of another strange fish that could have been included on this list. Be sure to let me know in the comments section below. Check out the other cool things appearing on the screen, and I'll see you next time.